Hey there, welcome to First Glance with Jody Vance, and I cannot tell you how much I am looking forward to having you be a part of this conversation, because Rich Goldstein and I are already well into our discussion. We decided to hit record now. I'm speaking with the CFO and co-founder of Cantab Therapeutics, and we decided while we were having our glass of water, cup of tea, we challenged each other to go deeper in this conversation. So Rich, we raced one another to the fridge. My Guinness to your Creemore. It's a good way to start this particular
I have no vested interest in Creemore breweries, just for the record.
Nor do I, but I love myself a Guinness. I love myself a Guinness. So, but I'm really excited to speak with you. Cantab Therapeutics, Rich, is really cutting edge of a game. I hesitate to call it a game, but it is really... for some of us, it feels like almost Russian roulette if you're going into the cannabis edibles area, right? Like, I'm a kid of the 80s. Like, pot's not news to me, but edibles at the strength of pot, like you give me 1982 pot, that's completely different than what we're looking at today. I mean, this is for some people to get their heads around. But with Cantab, can you explain to me medical grade versus edibles or ingestibles that we see otherwise?
Well, I mean, that might take a long time, but let me just go very quickly. I mean, an edible is a candy. It looks like a candy, kind of tastes like a candy, although if you've eaten a few edibles and, you know, I have to try everything out in the marketplace just to know what else is out there, but you still have a very strong flavor of whether it be THC or CBD. And so, you know, that's first out of the bat. What's the biggest problem and the biggest difference is for us, a medical dose is just like a medical dose of anything else, whether you're taking aspirin, whether you're taking heart medication or cholesterol medication, we're a medication. It looks like a medication. It's kept in your, you know, in your medicine cabinet, typically in your washroom. It's not smoked. It's not eaten. There's no calories. There's no sugar. But the most important thing about medical is that it's a perfect dose every single time. So when I tell you it's 2.5 milligrams of THC or 5 or even 10 for that matter, which is the maximum allowable by Health Canada today, or whether it be CBD, it's still a perfect dose every single time. It also has a tremendous shelf life. If you ever happen to put your capsules or your edibles or your chocolates, and you know, Lord knows if you left them in the car, not so much in Toronto these days where I'm at because it's pretty cold, but in the summertime, they'll all melt. Well, you can keep our tablets rather, you know, long anywhere you want. We have the greatest shelf life, way longer than any form of ingestible or edible. And frankly, just a way better solution.
So Rich, there's so much here that I want to get into because I do legitimately have an interest in this. I've taken a pure CBD tablet, gel, whatever, looks like a vitamin.
Call it a tablet. I drive people crazy.
Okay, tell me, a gel cap.
There's two kinds.
Okay.
Gel cap or capsule. It comes in a soft gel, which is a one piece.
That's what
and then it comes in what's called a snap cap. And where it's two pieces, the oil's loaded, and the top gets and then you typically see a bounder around the grooves of the capsule. Yes, certainly better than eating, certainly better than smoking. Nowhere near as good a pill.
So here's my thing, though. I took that. I was even scared of taking just pure CBD because I'm just not that person. I'm not a
You're an 80s baby.
I'm an 80s baby, but I was around people that were like, "Wait, we're going to go do mushrooms." Mushrooms were like growing on our front yard. And it was just not for me. I didn't like, this is my point really, Rich, is I didn't like the unknown of what's in that chocolate. What's in that gummy? And that's why I like Cantab, having never tried your product, but the idea, and hold up the little examples of your tablets, like literally color coded, so you know exactly what you're taking.
Here's the fancy one that has them all, which is my you know, what I like to show people. But like these are all, you know, 5 milligram THC. These are all 10 milligram, half CBD, half THC. We have you know, a pure CBD tablet. I call this our pill, a a ray of sunshine. It's a yellow color. It's very bright. And you know, you have nothing to worry about taking CBD because CBD has no euphoric effect, no high, but tremendous health benefit, especially if you're doing it with full spectrum oil, which is the real tough part about making tablets. There are a lot of people out there that can crunch out a tablet using, you know, synthetic CBD, you know, the biggest company in the world that has approval, GW Pharma. That's still synthetic. That is not the same as full spectrum. A plant is a plant. And yes, CBD and THC are very important parts of the cannabis plant or the hemp plant. But there's a tremendous amount of what they call terpenes and flavonoids and other aspects that you would see. Some of them in such small scale, they're not statistically significant, but others absolutely are very important to the overall benefits that CBD can bring. And there are many.
So I love this. I love the idea of having that ray of sunshine, little yellow pill, because when I want all of the benefits of CBD, but I don't want to be high. And that's not to say I never want to be high, because maybe I do. If you could tell me that little blue pill or that little purple pill would make me feel like one Guinness in, I'd be like, okay, give me that. Right. And
then we'd have to find what strength would work for you, but there's no way that we couldn't find a combination of THC, typically low dose THC. So this isn't about stoned. I mean, you want to get stoned on our tablets? Go ahead. It's gonna, you know, you're gonna need to take a few, because with a maximum dose of 10 milligrams, if you're a regular user and you just like to get high to get stoned, you're gonna need a lot of tablets. But if you're suffering from arthritis, from pain, from sleep issues, et cetera, then, you know, you don't want to get high. You want relief.
Right. So that's me. I want the sleep.
Well, a combination of low dose THC and high dose CBD. So, for instance, one of the 12 SKUs that Cantab has already approved by Health Canada, is a combination of CBD and THC. And so what we have is, on the same ratios that I mentioned earlier, 2.5, 5, and 10 in THC, we also have 12.5, 25, and 50 milligrams of CBD in a single serving in one caplet. And I can tell you that if you can get a 50 milligram serving of CBD in a gel cap or snap cap or whatever, it's pretty much the size of a horse tranquilizer. Okay. Right. It is huge. It's very difficult, but in a caplet, a hard pill format, you are absolutely able to do it. But more importantly, we can combine. So we expect that our combination 2.5 THC with 12.5 CBD, or 5 THC with 25 CBD, or obviously finally 10 CBD, all on a 5-to-1 ratio. You know, you got to find your balance. You got to find what works. And just because I might be a big guy and you might be much smaller than you might need more. So, you know, it's a function of how you digest, your metabolism, you know, everything about you and your health. So it's very difficult for doctors today to really even prescribe, even with clinical trials that will ultimately come. And Cantab, and hopefully we'll talk about it, will lead the way on clinical trials, because whatever happened to those things when I first got started in this business.
Right. Okay. So let's get into it, because Cantab Therapeutics, just for our viewers, our regular viewers know, you want to follow along. Everything about what we do at First Glance is about these emerging opportunities for investors. So if you're following along and thinking, I want to be a part of what Rich has got going on, Cantab Therapeutics is the company name, and the stock symbol, bless you, is PIL. P-I-L.
Up on the wall right behind me. Thank you, Ontario government.
So good. So when it comes to the ultimate goal for Cantab is, because medical grade, I mean, you want this to be what physicians will prescribe for people?
Not only do we want it what physicians will subscribe, we want it for a whole bunch of healthcare professionals who might not be able to prescribe it, but who understand the benefits. Holistic medicine and alternative medicine has been around for hundreds of years. And even the whole popularity of psychedelics. I mean, psychedelics have been around for a long, long time, but they were all taboo. And so now they're no longer taboo, because not so much the 80s babies, let's just say, I'm a 1960s baby. And yet, 20 years older than you, I can tell you that, my generation is very much accepting of the idea that there are solutions outside of oxycodone, for example, as a pain medication.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it is long past time that we explore beyond those under the guise that they're gateway drugs, that they're going to lead to worse things. The worst things are already in front of us. You just look at the opioid crisis for what the problem is here, and that people have been escaping their pain in ways that are so extreme, where everything we've learned about CBD, and certainly Cantab Therapeutics is rooted in this. CBD, THC as well is a big part of it, but CBD in its purest form is known to be so useful for human well-being. Like, it's just... It's fantastic.
And when you combine the two, they call it an entourage effect or whatever. The bottom line is that a little THC and a lot of CBD are better than either of them individually, depending on what your needs are.
And that's what I'm looking for the sleep. Every bit of research that I've done, and then I go to my physician and I say, listen, I'm really having troubles staying asleep. I can get to sleep. I just can't stay asleep. And a woman of a certain age, we all have these sleep hormones or this and that, whatever. And I was like, can you find a way of CBD with enough THC? And he's like, I don't know enough yet.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you loud and clear, and that is the truth. What I will tell your viewing audience is no one has ever overdosed from cannabis, period, ever.
Period.
So you're not going to get an overdose. And I'll also tell you that I learned, and I hope that these statistics are right, but I believe them to be correct, as told to me by an orthopedic surgeon, 5% of all first-time opioid users. So here's Jody. She's just had, knee reconstruction surgery as an example, and she's in pain, and she's on oxycodone or some other, opioid. And 5% of all first-time users who are not drug addicts, okay? They're people just like you and I, average people living their day, working hard, making families, building relationships, okay? And they become lifelong addicts. And people have been ruined, professional people, successful people, and those less fortunate, unfortunately, have all suffered this terrible thing called opioids.
Yeah. And the escape of pain, whether it be physical pain or mental anguish, what have you, taking a drug to escape the pain, as opposed to taking something that might help manage it without that addiction piece, without that cyclical, now I need, and we can talk about this all day long. We see what's happening at a community, and particularly, sadly, impoverished community level, where, and living in BC, I mean, where cannabis has largely been accepted, not taboo here. And still, there are authorities that are confiscating the pot, where people are then defaulting to the pills that they can buy because they can't utilize, so I think with legalization, and even the legalization moving forward of some other drugs at the possession level. I mean, I think as a society, we're moving towards it, but will it take us getting all the way to the end of that path of taboo to really embrace what Cantab has on the table here? Because people might look at the, the vial of the tabs with fancy colors and be like, look at that guy, he's pushing the pills on my kid. And it's like, no, he's not. No, he's not.
Skittles, they're not Skittles, they're not Smarties. They're medication. And the only reason we color code was to follow the original, and now I'm showing my age, of the Metrum Spectrum. And Metrum was the first LP to come out with a spectrum. Light color like yellow was CBD, dark color like red was THC. We could serve them all in white. They all come in a safety cap. Believe me, Health Canada is so cognizant of making sure that this stays out of the hands of children, especially young children. Cantab has no desire to turn anyone into a drug user. We want medication users. That's who we want. That's what we're going to build our business on.
And I love that. That should be a bumper sticker, because when you said off the top, it doesn't have sugar in it. It isn't shaped like a candy. It isn't dipped in chocolate. It doesn't look like a gummy bear. These are the alternative to what is the accepted drug that could very much hurt your system. I know so many people who are managing their lives through Ativan that could probably, right? But could.
How many billions do they do a year? Unbelievable. Well, Ativan, we're coming after you.
There you go. You know what? We need to circle back around. I want to hear more about Cantab as it continues to grow. And you know what? Sunshine CBD pills. I don't know how do I ask for them for my physician? How do I purchase these?
You'll soon be able to purchase them at the government stores. We did do a distribution deal with MediPharm, and they'll be bringing it to Shoppers Drug Mart and the rest of the Ontario and other provincial stores. Cantab, subject to Health Canada approval, will launch its own website. www.cantab.ca. That will be actually a new website is just being launched, but then a virtual clinic so that even if you don't get to your doctor, you'll be able to speak to somebody private, confidentially, online, one-on-one, understand what it is you're asking for, understand the benefits, the costs, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll make a decision. And if you make that decision and you become our client, we're going to try to keep you as a client for life.
Cantab with 2 N's.
2 N's. This tablet. Didn't take much, actually. I think it was a Creamore on a Saturday afternoon, and we said, what are we going to call this company? And I said, I don't know, we're making cannabis tablets. Let's just call it Cantab. And my partner, CEO at that time, Jeff Renwick, co-founder, said, sounds like a plan. We cheers like we are now.
There you go. Cheers.
And thank you. And now we are Cantab Therapeutics. Absolutely.
I love it. PILL is the stock symbol. PILL. So fitting. Yet again, so simple to remember. I love your gumption here, Rich. I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. I feel like you're a game changer, and I'm really proud to have you a part of First Glance here.
Thank you so much. Really, thank you to you and everyone that's shown us, their confidence. We will be there for many years to come, and we will only get bigger and bigger. It's not a race to us in terms of a short-term race. Okay, we're a marathoner. We're not running the 100-meter hurdles, and so we've been left behind. We are a sleeping giant. I truly believe that. It's so easy for a co-founder and CFO to say that, but it is the Lord's truth. Well, it's got
to start somewhere, and the belief should come from the top. And it sounds like you have kept it simple, and your mission is clear. And I do believe that you just want to educate and make the world a better place, one tab at a time. Thanks for doing this, Rich.
One tab at a time. I might put that on the bumper sticker. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My check's in the mail. No, wait.
Okay.
Cheers, Rich.
Cheers.